NBC's The Office is easily one of the funniest shows to ever grace television, but that doesn't mean the show didn't have its fair share of moments that were straight up dark. Across its 9 seasons, there have been plenty of moments that were a bit disturbing, and in today's video, we've selected our top 10 picks of the darkest moments in The Office. So let's dive right in. At number 10 on the list, we've got a scene from Season 3, Episode 18, Phyllis's Wedding. This episode has a bunch of really funny moments, but one that rubbed us the wrong way was when Michael Scott decided to bully Phyllis's disabled father. He pushed the old man back to his wheelchair when he tried standing up to walk his daughter down the aisle on her wedding day. Phyllis wanted to get on Michael's good side by having him push her father's wheelchair down the aisle along with her. She was hoping to leverage this into a longer vacation for her honeymoon, but as you'd expect, Michael turned it into being all about him and got frustrated when her father miraculously stood up. He's done a couple of questionable things over the series, but outright assaulting a disabled man is a tad too far. Up next, at number 9, we have a dark detail from Season 3, Episode 21, Product Recall. This is easily one of the most awkward episodes of The Office, which is a really big feat for this show. Although one subtle element that many people tend to overlook in the episode is Debbie Brown's story. She was a floor manager at Dunder Mifflin. Creed had caused a vulgar watermark to slip by, which should have been his one job not to let happen as a quality inspector. When Michael implied that he could be fired over this, Bratton decided to set Debbie up for the mishap. As it turned out, Debbie had to attend a dental emergency a week before Creed skipped out on his job, and this was all that Bratton needed to send Dwight off on a wild goose chase to catch Brown. Debbie was fired, and not only that, but the money that the office collected to help the poor woman was stolen by Creed as well. Sheesh. Moving on to number 8, it's pretty much all of Season 4, Episode 13, The Dinner Party. We think everyone knew this episode would appear on this list. The Dinner Party is easily one of the most iconic episodes of The Office, mainly because of how tough it is to sit through. In this episode, we see Jan reach the height of her crazy behavior, demonstrating just how much control she has over Michael. She's taken explicit control over every single room of the house, even dedicating an entire space just for her candle business. Oh, and we did mention she had an unused office that Michael isn't allowed to use, just because Michael didn't even get to sleep in his own bed. Instead, he had to rest on a small bench. He continued to highlight Jan's abusive actions all throughout the episode, almost as if he was calling out for help. It's possible that the entire dinner party was arranged by him to show to his friends and coworkers just how terrible of a relationship he was in, and to possibly get it done and over with once and for all. At number 7, we've got a moment from Season 5, Episode 22, Dream Team. The cold opening for most episodes is a way for the writers to add in a quick joke to get you ready for what's about to come, and this one is no different, but the punchline in the cold opening of Dream Team might have been a bit too dark. It started with Kevin trying his best to handle the reception desk. When a call came in for Andy, Kevin had to make sure that it was transferred properly. It's quite a funny moment to see him fumble about until he finally managed to get it done. The office cheered him on because even completing a basic task like transferring calls was quite an achievement for Kevin. Here's the disturbing part though. Apparently the call informed Andy that his maid had died. The darkness of the punchline is what makes it so funny, but it's still kind of weird and jarring to hear about someone's death seconds after the entire cast has been seen cheering and celebrating. Next, for number 6, it's the cold opening of Season 6, Episode 8, Koi Pond. There's one scene of The Office that was apparently so dark that it had to be cut from all reruns and was only seen in the premiere, and Season 6 Koi Pond apparently has it. The episode used to have a Halloween-themed cold opening, where Daryl acted as a tour guide to a wagon filled with kids. Things go normally at first, with the kids being a bit scared, but not sure of what's coming. This is until they reach the end of the ride, and things get a bit too dark. Michael thought it was a good idea to have the grand finale to the haunted house literally depicting a gruesome suicide scene. As the kids shout in horror, Scott revealed that it was just a prank and was done to warn them against the dangers of suicide. It's no surprise why the scene was cut from reruns because of how dark it is. Moving on to number 5, it's this bit from Season 8, Episode 18, Last Day in Florida. Dwight has, at many times, put his coworkers in actual danger, but nothing comes close to the time when he almost killed Creed. In a Season 8 episode, Dwight informed his coworkers that he'd permanently be staying in Florida. When the team found out about this, they decided to open a treasure box that he had left behind. After a round of nominations, Creed was the one who ultimately had to bite the bullet and open the box. And guess what? It was loaded with a poisoned dart that almost hit Creed. He'd be dead on the spot if he got hit. For our number 4 spot, we've got a scene from Season 8, Episode 22, Fundraiser. In this episode, Angela threw a fundraiser that was a total bust, and as a result, Dunder Mifflin employees each had to adopt their very own elderly dogs. Owning and caring for a dog is a huge responsibility, but luckily, Kevin was spared of that when he informed the group that his dog is so nice that it never even moves. His coworkers began questioning just why the dog never moved, thinking the dog had died. Thankfully, it turned out that Kevin was just super bad at describing stuff, and the dog was in fact just very lazy, much like his owner. But still, the thought of a dead animal is enough for us to add this to the list. Moving on to our top 3, it's from Season 9, Episode 1, New Guys. We've got yet another dark Kevin moment involving an animal. There are quite a few of these, aren't there? In this episode, Kevin mentioned how he'd spent the last couple months rescuing a turtle that he accidentally hit with his car. He's seen repairing the turtle's shell, and yes, it's already dead. If you're someone who loves animals, seeing Kevin basically play around with a dead turtle is tough to watch. We can only hope that the turtle passed away as soon as it was hit and didn't have to endure Kevin's horrible attempts at medical assistance. Next up, our number 2 spot is from Season 9, Episode 8, The Target. We get to see a dark side of Pam in this episode as she deals with her own perfectionism. After watching her coworkers create a literal tower out of their customer complaint cards, she got a tiny bit jealous and began trying to earn the final card to complete the tower herself. Pam had been learning to accept her own flaws, so it makes sense that she'd make a mistake that would need correcting. But instead of that, she called a random client and completely berated them on the phone by calling their mother fat. This by itself is already quite dark for Pam, but things got even worse when Aaron later informed the group that the client's mother had actually passed away from obesity quite recently. Oof, that took a dark turn, didn't it? Finally, our number 1 spot goes to yet another moment from Season 9, Episode 8, The Target. You know this was a dark episode when it got both the number 1 and 2 spots. This episode showed us another super bleak moment when it's discovered that Angela may go as far as to have Oscar murdered after she learned that her husband was having an affair with him. Dwight talked her down, and you know things have gotten out of hand when Dwight, of all people, is the voice of reason. Oscar made it out alive, but that didn't change the fact that Angela was willing to hire a hitman to get him killed. That's probably the darkest crime we've seen anyone do in the series. And if things had gone her way, this moment would easily be one of the most questionable things to ever happen in an otherwise lighthearted comedy series. That's a wrap for this video. Which one of these The Office moments did you think was the darkest? Comment below, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.